As we start to tackle some of these more difficult passages in the book of Revelation, I want to talk with you about a number of different things that we need to keep in mind as we're trying to interpret this complex and highly opinionated kind of set of passages. We're talking about the three sets of seven, the seven seals, the seven trumpets, the seven bowls, and these are judgment motifs that have interludes and have pauses and different things like that in the book of Revelation. But it's really important, and something that people fail to do often in the West, in America, Europe, and that kind of thing. When we're looking at the book of Revelation, we must put ourselves in the place of the original audience. Now, that makes sense when we think about the book of First Corinthians or Second Corinthians. Well, what was going on in Corinth? Those are the questions that we ask. We want to understand that we're listening to two sides. We're listening to one side of a phone call, and that that it's answering. The Apostle Paul is writing to answer certain things that are going on in that original audience, or questions that he's being asked of them. But what ends up happening is we don't do that with the book of Revelation. We just sort of read into, and there's a number of grids like dispensational premillennialism that impose a certain set of assumptions and grids onto this, and then read into all kinds of different meanings into the text. Revelation is three different kinds of literature, as you remember. It is a letter. It's written to people. It's written to seven churches. So there's specific context that it's being written into in the present tense. It's apocalypse. It's an unveiling, a symbolic unveiling of something that God is saying, and it's prophetic. It's speaking into, God is saying something to them in their present situation. And we have to remember that as we read this. And so I think I want to call you back to, as we read Revelation, not to grab a whole bunch of current day newspapers and try to make sense of everything on the basis of what you see going on in the world. Instead, this helps us to interpret what's going on in the world by how it helped them interpret what was going on in their world. That's where Revelation speaks to us. That's where Revelation becomes for us a discipleship document, not a predictor of the end of the world. And so I want to call you back to that as we jump into that in this week 14.